Hi, this is Edmund Good. I'm presenting the Stuxnet and Flame worms. What are worms? Worms are malicious programs that function independently and replicate themselves onto computers or devices. They can have several different capabilities, long-term surveillance. They can take account access privilege upgrading so that they can further expand themselves or infect the server or other computers. They can gather packets of certain information and hold on to them and then transmit them in a way so that they're not easily detected by network engineers who might be monitoring network traffic. As I said, transmitting information back to its command and control server. Reason for importance. Stuxnet and flame worms were among the first malware that were created specifically to cause damage to a country's critical infrastructure, which can include power plants and distribution systems, water supply and treatment plants, banks, traffic control systems, both railroad and vehicular, fuel, oil refinement, international sale via distribution, or even not just water supply, but I didn't mean water supply, I meant sales in general. Any sort of distribution system, whether it's food chain as well, can also be affected. They secretly mapped and monitored Iran's computer networks, sending back intelligence. Per Nakashima, Miller, and Tate in 2012. Stuxnet was a 500 kilobyte worm, was discovered in June 2010, but is believed to be in existence since 2005. It was discovered after nuclear centrifuges kept breaking, but reported normal activity on their monitors. So the program logic controllers had been modified by the worm. Flame is a 20 megabyte worm, was discovered after May 2012 when Kaspersky Labs received a request from the International Telecommunications Union, which is part of the United Nations, to study a piece of malware supposedly destroyed files from oil company computers in Iran. Experts describe the overlap, which is identical code segments, as DNA-like evidence that the two sets of malware were parallel projects run by the same entity. Also noted was the fact that the encryption ability of Flame was such a high caliber that it falsified a Windows certificate and presented itself as a Windows update so that users would automatically go ahead and cause it to initiate installing Flame onto their computer. It was also designed to hide in such a way that it would modify it, or it would look at antivirus programs, see what it would look for definition-wise, and then modify itself so that it could hide without the antivirus program finding it. As I stated earlier, it also would send packets back on a smaller scale so that network traffic wasn't interfered with. Stuxnet attack phases. Stuxnet targeted Microsoft Windows machines and networks, repeatedly replicating itself. The worm infiltrated the Windows-based Siemens Step 7 software. This software controls industrial programmable logic controllers. which fall under the classification of supervisory control and data acquisition modules that help monitor and control remote or hostile environment mechanisms, such as dam floodgates, so that when water buildup is too much, that they can open up one gate after the next to relieve the pressure. In this case, it was the nuclear enrichment centrifuges. With the PLCs compromised, the industrial systems could be spied upon and even cause the centrifuges to spin faster, causing them to tear themselves apart while showing normal conditions on the monitoring displays. Flame is highly complex, which accounts for its 20 megabyte size, which used a fraudulent Microsoft certificate to gain access to the operating system. It modified its appearance depending on the analysis of the virus protection. As I stated earlier, it gained information, then would send it back to its command and control server. It was created to allow even other malware to be loaded, making it act like a Trojan horse. Infiltration. It is believed that since some of the Iranian nuclear facilities are an oasis or are air-gapped so that there's no direct internet connection, that USB drives or memory sticks and unsuspecting workers or infiltrators were used to install the worms initially. Both worms were suited to infest USB drives and network printer servers to replicate and expand. They used a combination of 4 different vulnerabilities, or exploited 4 different vulnerabilities. The LNK vulnerability was used to spread via the USB sticks. Then it also used a shared print spooler vulnerability to go ahead and infiltrate across printer shared networks. And then the 2 other vulnerabilities would escalate the account privileges of the program so that it could go ahead and run at root level or access other computers to infect them. The exploitation of these vulnerabilities had I say trifecta, but it's quad effect. But since 2 of them are similar, it's a trifecta type of effect. Purpose. It is believed that the United States and Israel acted together to create these worms, which Kaspersky Labs' Royal Schwalmenberg estimated took a team of 10 coders 2 to 3 years to create the worm to its final stage. The purpose was to slow down Iran's capacity to create nuclear fuel and possible plutonium for nuclear bombs, to help keep Iran at the diplomacy table, and it also helped to avoid conventional warfare. This fell under the program Operation Olympic Games, which was seen as a non-violent alternative to direct combat or war. This started the era of cyber weapons, especially of nations attacking other nations. Here's a list of the references I had for my paper. And basically, these were the predecessors to large-scale, non-financial gain, but political attacks. So, as I said, they're nation-to-nation attacks. But the scary part is it's also shown the normal cyber criminal, what they can do using components of those 2 worms to further gain money, to gain information from not only nations but also companies and people.